Conditional formatting. Let's talk about conditional formatting. Conditional formatting means changing the presentation of a cell depending on the value. Yes, there are some complicated conditional formatting. We are really just going to scratch the absolute surface with this. There's a lot more that can be done. But I want to show you some basic conditional formatting because it's very easy to do. And unfortunately, very few people use it, and it can really make your data jump out at you. And I'm going to show you how to do 3 very simple types of conditional formatting that are really just kind of click and go type options in order to better present your data. So here we've got 3 columns of numbers. They're all exactly the same. I'm going to leave the first one blank. That's what a lot of people will produce. Now, I mean, this could be your sales values. It could be salespeople's targets. It could be turnover. It could be anything to do with your business. But just have a look and see how much difference the conditional formatting makes. So let's start with the first one, and let's do some conditional formatting. Now, when I click on conditional formatting, which is under the home banner there, if you click on we've got 3 kind of generic ones that we can use. There are a lot more options to go into, but you've got your data bars, you've got your color scales, and you've got your icon sets. So let's start with the data bars, and let's go across to the solid green one, for example. Click on it. Now it's done it, but you need to just do a little bit of fine tuning. So if we go, keep that selection back into conditional formatting and say manage rules, it'll open up that one that we've got there. And we can click on that, and we can either click on it and say edit rule, or else you can just double click on it and it opens up. So now it says a data bar. You've got the option to select the bar only. So it actually, if you've got formulas, it won't show the numbers. It'll just show the bar. In this case, let's just uncheck that. Here you got your minimum and then the maximum. Now, what all of these things do by default is it takes your an automatic minimum. So it says, well, 1 is the lowest of the values, 10 is the highest. So it takes 1 as the lowest, 1 and 10 as the highest. Whereas what you can actually do is you may have a situation where actually your sales people are aiming for a target of 5 grand. So if someone makes 30 grand, you don't want that to show as 100%, and then the 5 grand just shows a fraction. You want the 5 grand to be the total. So you want to actually be able to set what is the maximum, what is the minimum, where people ought to be doing it. So let's just say we know, and then with that, the lowest number you can get is 0, and the maximum you can get is 1, whatever. So if we say the lowest value, and it takes those. If we say that a number, it says what is the number? We go 0 is the minimum, and then what is the number? And then we can go 10 is the highest. Now, if you wanted to adapt, if you wanted to look at what the highest value is that you've entered and go, well, that's 100% and everything else works out from that, that's fine, then leave it as it is. But if you actually want to set the minimum and the maximum, you can do so by setting the minimum number is 0, maximum is 10. You can have a solid fill or a gradient fill. Gradient fill just means that the bar changes color. Have a solid fill, no border. You can do a few selections here, bar direction, context, left to right, right to left, or context. And then that's a preview. And you can click OK. And then apply, and then OK. So what this means is if you put in 100 here, for example, or 100, it still shows as 100%. If you put 10, it shows as 100%. So 10 is the maximum. Anything beyond that will just show it as the maximum. So if you put 5, that will be 50% of that maximum. Because we basically told it to work out from 0 to 10. So that's the first data bar, and you can see immediately there which ones are doing better than others. Here, it's a bit difficult to see, whereas there, you've immediately got that little data bar in. I often use these when I'm working to percentages. So if it's 100% or whatever the case might be, then I can set it from 0 to 1 and format this as a percentage. And then 100% would be 1, which would then show as full. Anything beyond that would just show as 100% full. So I often use these data bars, as I said, when I'm working with percentages. Let's have a look at the next one. Same concept, just a different rule. So we go to the color scales. Let's just select this to start off with. Green, higher the number, the green, lower numbers in red. select that. Again, conditional formatting, manage rules, double click. Now, what this has done is it's also set up to the lowest value and 50 percentile highest value. So if we just cancel that, close. So if we did put this 100 in as 1,000, then all of a sudden everything else becomes quite poor based on the 1,000, and the 1,000 is the only green one. So if you've got one kind of runaway score, the other ones are all looking quite negative compared to that runaway score. That's the downside of setting it to based on the data that's entered. So again, if we go in here and we say, well, hold on a second, let's manage that rule and let's change these to actual numbers. We go along and change them to all numbers, because now we can go, well, the minimum we're expecting is 0, the middle is 5, the maximum is 10. And now we can go, okay, apply, and now it colors everything according to those values. What we also could do is we could say, well, actually, hold on a second. This minimum number here is 3. Anything below, anything up to 3 is not great. 5 would be the middle, and say anything above 7 is actually good in green. So 7 would be the limit. So now let's see what happens. So now all of a sudden we've got 7, 8, 9, and 10 in green, 1, 2, and 3 in red, and the others colored accordingly. So you can play around with that and select where your options are, where you want to do it. Let's just take it back to that and 10. Play around with those conditional formatting. The last one is the same principle yet again, but it's just a slightly different thing. This time we put icon sets, so we can put little arrows in whichever icon. You can go around, play with flags, and all these little different icons you can put in. So let's go ahead with the flags actually, and go to conditional formatting, manage rule again, double click on it. And again, so when do we want to use the red flag? When it's less than 33, and these are all percentages. So if we put these back as numbers, we can go greater than or equal to, let's say 3, and then the green flag is 7. So then if it's less than 3, actually just change that to a 4 instead. 1, 2, 3 is going to be a red flag. Between 4 and 7 with 7 and greater, 7, 8, 9, 10 would be a green flag, and then a yellow flag would be 4, 5, or 6. And we go okay, apply, okay, and now we can see it's got the respective flags. Again, if these are formulated cells, we could go to show icon only. In fact, it still works even with unformulated cells. Even if you put the number in, you can show the icon only. It just gets a bit tricky then, because you can't see what you filled in. But yeah, you can show the icon only if you want to. What I would suggest doing, if it's formulated and you just want to show a little flag, you can do that, show icon only. We could do that with this as well. Not necessarily that one, but yeah, there are other ways of not showing those numbers, but I'm not going to go into that now. So as you can see, we've got the exact same data set 4 times, but how much clearer is it with these conditional formatting as to exactly which ones have done well, which ones haven't done well, that kind of thing, rather than just having that data. And to be honest with you, I don't see this enough. I don't see enough people using conditional formatting, and it's such a simple way to bring your data to life, to be able to see exactly what's going on at a glance. So yeah, if you're staring at data all day long trying to figure out which is good, which is bad, then this will really help you, and I hope that does so. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.